The reality is that technology is getting to the point where it's going to have a very significant impact on the job market. Its machines are increasingly going to be capable of taking over a lot of the work that's now being done by people, probably on an unprecedented scale. I mean, who are skeptical will point out that this is something that has happened throughout history, and that's certainly true. But we're really now beginning machines, in some limited sense at least, begin to think like people. They can take on intellectual tasks as well as manual tasks. And that's something that, is a capability that's just going to scale across industries. It's going to invade really every kind of work, and it's going to climb the skills ladder and take over a lot of jobs that are now done by people who are educated and so forth. So it's I think, a big challenge for us. In the short term, we are going to see profits increase because obviously this technology makes companies more efficient. In the long run, what I worry about is that if we really end up with unemployment, or we end up with people that have very low wages, then we don't have enough people out there to drive the economy and create demand and create a prosperous future. And I think at that point, if we begin to see that, then I hope that governments and the population in general will wake up to the fact that we need to do something to adapt to this, that can help us deal with this fundamental shift that's occurring.
So on some form, you could look at this world that's coming and say this is kind of the ideal leisure society where people don't have to work anymore, that standards of living could rise because we have, great technologies and cheaper transportation. But you're saying it's not necessarily going to be the outcome unless governments do something dramatic.
We need to have some policies in place. I think that any policy you can envision to adapt to this problem is going to be fairly radical. Maybe the best idea that I've heard about is to give everyone a guaranteed basic income, so that everyone in our society, regardless of whether you've got a traditional job or not, or whether you can work enough hours to generate sufficient income, or whether your wage is high enough, you'll have at least a decent, minimal, livable income. And that will allow you not just to survive economically, but it will also allow you to go out and act as a consumer and help drive demand that really sustains capitalism. And I think that that's the direction we're ultimately going to have to move in. It's not something that I anticipate happening soon. It's obviously a tremendous political challenge to get there. But in some sense, I do think it's almost inevitable that that's the kind of solution we're going to have to come up with.